Aztec from the third tee. This is the second in the World Championship week. This is a draw. I've got a bit of a friendly wind. This can be virtually impossible if you've got a left to right wind. Strong left to right wind anyway, or a tailwind can make it tricky. With the wind where it is there, it's a nice comfortable draw. The thing you've got to be careful of, you'll see this just makes it over the tree. You can see just to the right of the picture there. You'll see what I mean in a moment. I'm playing this with a 4-wood. If you're playing anything less lofted than that, a lot depends on your stats on how high the ball's going to travel. But what you don't want to do is hit it too low, get caught up in that tree, you'll go out of bounds. It can be the end of your World Championship game on hole 1. So any doubt, you can play it safe and go for the birdie, but with that wind we can make it over. You see it's very close to that tree, but it makes it over, and it's going to bounce in front of the green, takes the pace off it and roll on towards the pin. Obviously the pin may be in a different position, in which case you need to adjust accordingly. But be careful of the bunker, which is a fairly new addition in front of the green. Left a nice easy putt. Starting off with an eagle on this hole can really help you around. There's most of the par 4s, in fact all of the par 4s from the third tee for me, you get an eagle. There's some interesting shots, as you'll see. This is a par 5, which once you've got the distance is fairly standard, but until you have, it's really quite a tricky one. With my stats, I can put it within range of a nice little pitch shot. You'll notice I've not hit that nearly as hard as I could have done. To be honest, it only makes it harder. The closer you get, trying to play a pitch or a normal shot from 100, 120, 130 yards is really hard. So I'd much rather leave it this distance, play a standard pitch shot, and just play a fairly regulation shot. A pitch shot doesn't move much for the wind. The big adjustment there is for the incline left to right, so the ball's going to kick off to the right when I hit it. There's a little bit of a movement in the air, you'll see, but not a lot. A pitch shot, one of the real benefits is it's not really strongly affected by the wind. So there's a nice easy-ish putt again. We'll move on to the third. The third hole can be really easy. If you get one of the short tees, it can really be quite tricky. For that reason, I've chosen the trickier short tee. Now what I'm going to do here, I'm actually going to play a sand wedge, but I'm not going to choose pitch. Reason for that is, especially as you get higher stats, the pitch shot can travel quite low, and this hole, if you hit the fairway in front of it, it can easily kick back, roll down, you can be in a world of trouble. Now you'll see how high a standard sand wedge travels. It's not going to be quite as high as it would have been if it was full blast, but even so, it's going to go really high, and with that headwind it's going to stop almost immediately. So even without selecting pitch, I've got a lot of control over that. For that, when the pin's at the front, you want to go for as much loft as you can to really try and take out the front of the green out of the equation. You can see a lot of people get into trouble there. This is often another one where people get into a lot of trouble for obvious reasons. There's a nice little structure in front of the green, so you can go through these windows. You can high draw over the back depending on where the pin is. What I'm going to do is go through the window here. There's loads of different ways you can play this hole. So what I'm going to do, the green is going to roll off a little bit to the right, hence me aiming just to the left of the pin. The thing you've got to be careful of, and again this you need to check for your stats around the percentage you're going to hit. Now what you'll see, I've actually gone for a 4-wood. If I hit that full, it's going to go way off the back, obviously. I've got my percentage from practice. I know that if I hit it about there, it's going to bounce off the ledge, which will leave it, when the pin's kind of in the middle of the green as it is there as far as the front and back goes. That's my best bet for getting it close. If the pin was at the back, I would have aimed to get it actually through the window, land just on the front of the green, and it would roll off towards the back. So again, how you play that hole is going to depend on where the pin is and what the wind's doing. This one, again, can be tricky until you've got the stats. You can see I very nearly make the green here, but not quite. What I'm going to do is play a draw, put me just within flopping distance. And with this sort of distance, it really makes it a very simple hole. You get a lot of holes like that that are real killers, and all of a sudden you suddenly find, oh, I can actually make it over there, and it suddenly becomes, rather than struggling to get a par, you can start thinking about getting birdies and eagles. Again, that all comes with stats and practice. Okay, so again, this is going to kick off. You see the R3 at the bottom right. That means the ball's going to kick off to the right. If it was 100 yards, it would go about 3 yards to the right. It's slightly under that, but the green is also going to slope across. You'll notice when it lands, the ball moves ever so slightly, not a huge amount, to the right there. That can be, depending on how sloped it is, you'll see at places like Safari, the ball's going to move a lot after it lands. It's quite an inclined green, but with a flop shot, it's not going to move much. So for that reason, an easy eagle. Okay, again, this is a hole which it's a fairly standard birdie, to be honest, once you get a little bit of distance. But I've now, if I hit it, try and pitch it around about the front of the green there, I can actually make it on the green. Got to be careful, because if you're a little bit short, it's quite a heavy bank and it'll just bounce back into the bunker or even back onto the fairway at the front. So again, this is one where distance is key. It's really worth spending time on the practice fields and working out not just how far it's going to go in various winds, but exactly where the ball's going to pitch in relation to your marker. That's really the key when you start being able to drive these par fours. The key is not necessarily where the ball's going to, how far it's going to go, but where the ball's going to land. Because if you can land it on, as I'm going to do here, something that's going to take all the pace off it, you'll see it just loops up and rolls nicely on. If that had been, a flat surface, that would have gone way off the back, but the pace has come right off it and left me with a standard eagle again. The total score you'll see me get in these World Championship games, at the end of the day, I'm endeavouring to put in a perfect round. So I'm just putting in the best I could possibly do on the practice course on every hole. Totally unrealistic. But again, that's not really the purpose of this, to be realistic. It's just to show you what can be done. So with this one, there's loads of different ways you can play it. Again, you can now play a sky shot, now that's available. If you've got your distances for that, you can play a fade, which bounces on the fairway just between those two bunkers to the left, and that'll kind of end up on the green. That used to be the only way there because there was trees in the way, but they've moved the trees now. So you can play various ways. What I'm doing here, I know again from practice that a full 3 iron in this wind is essentially going to just bounce on the top, and it's going to bounce again on the fringe, and it's going to roll up very, very close. You'll find, you might find that would be a 3-wood for you. You might find you can't do that shot at all because you don't have the stats. But again, it's worth noting what's possible. The most common way to get on there, like I say, used to be the fade until the trees arrived. So on to the 8th. Again, another one where I can drive the green. All the greens are drivable for me from the 3rd tee. First of all, you'll be aiming down here. As your stats increase, you'll head over here, which gets you a bit closer. Then you can aim for the big bit of fairway to the right of the green there, but gradually you get closer and closer until, as I can now, you can basically land it on the green. Again, this is one where there's a bit of a bank in front of the green. It's a bit unpredictable because it is pitched a bit left and right, so you've got to try and work out where the ball's going to bounce. In this case, it's going to bounce off to the right a bit, and you'll see not bad at all. It's quite easy, you'll notice I did it 99%. If I hit that 100%, that would have gone off the back of the green. They're very, very fine margins. And again, the only place to work out where they are is on the practice fields. You'll keep me hearing me say that. But it's, it's a no-brainer. You just need to put the practice in if you want to learn how things are going to work for you when you play a certain shot. This one there's a big bunker around the green. You'll see many a World Championship won and lost with people getting stuck in that. What I'm going to do here, I'm going to play a backspin shot with a 9 iron. It's pushing it a bit close, but I know in that wind I'm just going to make it, again from practice. If I play a 7 or 8, it's going to go much flatter and be much more difficult to get it on the green. So again, a straightforward birdie there. So flown through this one again. That's that for now. Next up will be Rolling Hills from the 2nd tee. I'll try and get that uploaded as soon as I can, and I'll try and keep them coming. Thanks for watching.